Hey guys, and a very warm welcome to Friday Fretworks. This week I wanted to answer a specific question that I had recently, and if I'm honest, is one that took me aback a little bit, in that I had to think a little bit harder about the answer than I thought I probably would have to, and that is whether I prefer Strats or Teles. It probably seems like a very obvious answer, to be honest, given the frequency of the guitar in my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, all that kind of stuff, but for me, a Telecaster was my first guitar. My parents bought me a Squier Affinity Telecaster when I was about 14, I think, and for the longest time that's the only guitar I used. So I have a very strong connection with the Telecaster. It was a butterscotch Telecaster, much like the one you'll be seeing in this video. It's not the same guitar, but it's just a classic guitar that my old man convinced me to have, funnily enough, over a Strat, because of Keith Richards, because of Bruce Springsteen, because of those guys that just, you know, kind of are synonymous with the Telecaster and synonymously cool as well. So it's actually took a little bit more thought than I thought it would. In the past recent 6-7 years, I guess, I've been using Strats more frequently. So, to be honest, if push came to shove and you held a knife to my throat, I would probably say that I preferred a Strat. I've become very used to the sound of them, the feel of them, just everything about a Strat. And if you get a good one, I don't think anything beats it, to be honest. But that said, I've always been a very firm believer that you use the right tool for the job, and guitars ultimately are tools. Whether people look at them that way or not is irrelevant. For me, they're tools, and as much as you wouldn't use a brick to try and plaster a wall, you wouldn't use a trowel to try and build a house. And in the same respect, I use the right guitar for the situation. So, for example, with Buck and Evans, it's primarily a Strat band, at least in my head. That's the kind of sound that I'm going for, so I use a Strat. With Buffalo Summer, another South Wales band that I did a tour with in April, did a 2-week tour of Spain. I was just guesting as their guitar player for the 2 weeks. It's more aggressive, it's more kind of southern rock based stuff, for which a Strat just did not work. And it would have been folly to take one with me, so I didn't. I used my Revstar 720 with a Bigsby, and I used my Telecaster that you'll be seeing today, and they were perfect. You know, a Strat would have been totally wasted on that tour, and as much as it was a little bit of a weird one to be a fortnight away without my main squeeze, it was the right tool for the job. So that said, I've always been very conscious that you don't want to be trying to shoehorn the wrong guitar into the wrong situation, or the right guitar into the wrong situation. So, as I said, the answer took a little bit more thought than I probably thought it would initially. For this comparison video, I'm going to be focusing primarily on my favourite sounds with either guitar, which are the neck and position 4 on a Strat, or 2, depending on which way the guitar is, up or down, the neck and bridge, neck and middle, sorry. And with the Telecaster, I'm going to be focused on the neck pickup and the next out of phase position. The Telecaster, let's get the technicalities out of the way. The Telecaster I'm using is actually this. It's a MJT Relic Telecaster from, what year would it be? I had it as a joint present of my then girlfriend, now wife, and parents. And it's just a gorgeous guitar. I wanted a Relic looking Telecaster. I know people disagree with the idea of relics, but whatever, I just wanted one. And it's a gorgeous guitar and it sounds great. And for the Strat part of the demo, knocking guitars over, and surprisingly it is this. It is my main Strat, my Highway 1 2004 with the ChrisBuck Bang pickups. The only other thing worth mentioning is this pedal, which is the Gamechanger Audio Plus pedal, which you'll be seeing plenty of, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. I'm going to do a dedicated demo of this pedal, very kindly sent to me by the guys out in Latvia at Gamechanger. It's basically a sample pedal, so the drone that you hear going underneath while I'm playing, that is, I've just played it in, essentially sampled it, and then it kind of tails off as long as you want it to last. So there we go. Without further ado, let's see how they sound. I'm intrigued to see what I find, to be honest, and which inspires me most, which I think is a big part of any guitar, is how much it inspires you to play, and how, if it does, whether it makes you play differently. So I'm intrigued to see the answer, to be honest, so let's see how I get on. So there you have it. As predicted, to be honest, if push came to shove and you dangled me out of a building and told me to choose between the two, I would probably lean towards a Strat. I'd probably do more than lean towards a Strat if I was being dangled out of a building, to be honest, but I would choose a Strat. I think, as I said, for the past 6-7 years, it's what I've been playing every day, pretty much, so it feels very much like home. That Strat in particular has become like an old friend in a very short space of time, you know, relatively speaking. That said, as I mentioned, I've always been a very firm believer that, you know, you pick the right tool for the job, and there's certain situations for me that a Strat just doesn't cut it, as much as there are certain situations where a Telecaster doesn't cut it. So you just pick the right tool for the job and make sure that you're kind of getting the best out of the situation. As I mentioned when I did that 2-week tour of Spain, Strat just would have been totally pointless. It wouldn't have suited the music, and it would have been me trying to shoehorn an instrument into a situation that just didn't work. So I took the Telecaster and spent pretty much a fortnight in Spain flicking between the bridge pickup on a Telecaster and the bridge pickup on my Yamaha 720, both of which kind of nailed that slightly more aggressive kind of all-out rock tone. With Buck and Evans, it's more of a Strat band. There are certain situations where Telecasters work for me, but again, it's just picking the right tool for the job. You know, as I mentioned, they're tools ultimately, and I've always viewed them as such. Just, you know, use the right one for the job ultimately. That's the way I've always approached it, and I think comparing the two and trying to decide which one was quote-unquote better would have been a totally fruitless task. You know, they're like apples and oranges. It's just impossible to try and compare, and utterly fruitless. Pointless, whatever is the word I'm looking for. As ever, if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe. These are weekly videos every Friday, so please let me know what you thought of this in the comments below rather. What your main guitar is, whether it's a Strat, whether it's a Tele, whatever, and which one you prefer and for what reason, which one you thought sounded better, all that kind of good stuff. Just let me know. I love talking to you guys, and I shall see you next week for another episode of Friday Fretworks. Cheers guys, take care.